Gentlewoman from Richmond City, Ms. McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Gentlewoman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, as we all know, this year is a redistricting year. What is interesting to note, though, is over two-thirds of this House was elected since the last redistricting. And therefore, there are quite a few of us who are not as familiar with the process and have many questions, some of which were asked by the gentleman from Charlottesville the other day and answered by the gentleman from Suffolk. And it's important that we discuss redistricting before we come back in April. Since it's only done once in a decade, it's important that we get it right. Most important is that our legislative districts be drawn fairly to represent our residents in a way consistent with the state constitution, the United States Constitution, the one person, one vote rule, and the Voting Rights Act. Last year, the Privileges and Elections Committee held a series of public hearings across the state seeking public comment on how redistricting should be framed, on how the process should move forward. And we have a record of those hearings posted on the legislative websites. The last public hearing on redistricting was held in December, over 2 months ago. Since then, we've received the 2010 census data. Information about how the districts are under or overpopulated is now also available on the legislative website. When we come back in April to discuss redistricting, I hope that we will follow through on a pledge made last year to hold another public hearing, or better, another series of public hearings across the state to seek public input on redistricting based on this new data. Because redistricting has such an important impact on the citizens of the Commonwealth and their elected representation, redistricting should take place in a way that welcomes citizen input and fosters a productive public dialogue. The Governor has begun this process by appointing an independent bipartisan advisory commission on redistricting to help make this process more transparent. This commission is responsible for facilitating citizen input on the redistricting process by soliciting that input and providing citizens with access through public meetings and a website, allowing public comment and interaction. And the commission is comprised of an equal number of Republicans and Democrats. So for the first time, in addition to a bipartisan legislature, we will have bipartisan independent panel to provide input. The commission is meeting today in Fredericksburg and will meet several times again before we come back in April. The commission has decided to hold a competition where college and university students will compete to draw the best, fair, and objective redistricting plans for the House of Delegates, the State Senate, and our congressional districts. And a prize will be awarded to the best map drawing teams. I hope this is more than just a contest with a prize. I hope that when we come back, we will actually listen to what the commission tells us and take a serious look at the maps being developed by the college and university teams. This year's redistricting process will be the most watched in our history. We've never had a college competition before. We've never had a blue ribbon panel, bipartisan panel appointed by the governor before. If we do not listen to this public input, we will reinforce the cynical view held by so many in the Commonwealth and America that their opinions don't matter. We cannot afford to ignore them. We have to change the way business has been done in the past, have meaningful public input, which I believe, based on the comments made from the gentleman from Suffolk, we will do, and I hope he's right. Thank you.
Gentleman from Suffolk, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Speaker, point of personal privilege.
Gentleman, may proceed.
If I may, I thank the gentlelady for her comments. We had yesterday the third meeting of the Joint Reapportionment Committee. I thought it went very well. I will certainly provide to the minority leader those comments and the PowerPoint that was presented by staff. I thought that was very helpful, and also the agenda that we followed yesterday. I will say that the leadership of both chambers, the Senate and the House, have been discussing a procedural resolution, which I think might have been taken up today or is going to be taken up before we leave, that would establish a timeline for us to be able to do our business in a special session. We have indicated, I think I've stated publicly, that we would have a bill prior to, and then we would have public hearings across the Commonwealth to solicit input from interested parties. And I think I am pleased, like many are, that we're going to have as much public input as possible. And as a matter of fact, at the request of one of the members from down the hall, we're going to have a public comment tool that will be available on the Legislative Services website, that if you feel like when you see a plan, you as a citizen can make a comment. It'll be marked and bookmarked and will be cataloged by staff so we can look at those as we look at things like communities of interest and the traditional redistricting principles. So I do thank the General Lady for her comments, and I can assure her that from this side of the aisle and from that end of the Capitol that we hear what the people are saying as far as having a lot of public input in the process as we get to that all-important task that the Constitution provides to us, and that is drawing the legislative districts. And I thank the General Lady.